right, and I think we can go ahead and kick things off. And we are live, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. I wanted to give everybody a couple of minutes to join in and pour in. I thank you all for joining us at our fourth town hall this year, Near Foundations Town Hall. We have an awesome agenda today with some great people here. We'll be going over Near Foundations KPIs. Illia will go ahead and unpack BOS. We'll go over BOS. And then we are going to segue into some amazing projects and teams building some integrations on BOS and what they're building and how we can get involved. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and kick things off to Marique, who'll go ahead and introduce, and we'll get started.
Thank you so much, Marcus. Hello, Nearians builders. Welcome to this town hall. As we all continue building, just to kick things off and to share with you, there's some pretty significant milestones that were achieved just a few weeks ago, in particular reinforcing why Near is the boss. If you think about it, the new near.org website is actually the first Web3 marketing website that is 100% Web3, front end, back end, everything is served from the blockchain. FastOS is a one-time onboarding, which is completely seamless. You can actually create a Web3 account in 5 seconds. I would argue it's pretty actually a better experience even than what we can have today in Web2. And Near Horizon, the platform that enables to connect founders with backers, with top marquee partners and backers involved, is a complete application that is actually completely built on the BOS. Those are some of the snippets of things that have been actually launched and shared in the last few weeks and days. Now, while all of that is impressive, one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we actually get is that the BOS is something quite difficult to wrap one's head around, and fair enough. And so what's needed actually for that to be crisper is to bring to life real examples, which is actually what this town hall is all about, as Marcus alluded to. So what are you going to hear from today? Today, you're going to hear from Illia to actually reshare at a high level the BOS, where things are at and what's going on that front. And then you'll have some amazing projects that are actually going to share with you what is it that they're building on the BOS. So we'll have Near Tasks, Pikes Peak, Flipside, and Harmony Guild. Guys, thank you so much for being here and for sharing what you're doing on that. Now, let me get briefly into actually the frame for the foundation. This town hall is hosted by the foundation. So very fast reminder here. What's the foundation's mission? Why do we exist? We exist to support the ongoing growth and development of an autonomous and decentralized Near ecosystem. And that means each and every one of you building in the Near ecosystem. What are our convictions? Our conviction is that actually ease to develop, ease of user onboarding experience are absolutely paramount and fundamental to get to billion users, which is actually the big mission and ambition of Near. We also believe actually that being a unifying force in Web3 is very important and moving away from the tribalism of layer 1, layer 2. And that's why actually Near being the boss is a very important step forward, evolving Near from being a layer 1 into being a blockchain operating system. And Near as a technology has all the bits and pieces that are necessary to be the blockchain operating system, with near immediate finality, scaling that works and that scales with usage, remote accounts, and meta transaction, just to name some of the few key core components. Now, getting to 1 billion users or even millions of users is no small feat. How do we think about that? What's our mental model for it? Well, the mental model is that the community grassroots is a core key component of it. Having a product platform where project can be listed and backers and other people who can actually help provide support is also important. That's Near Horizon. Strategic partnership can be top of funnel and can bring en masse a large amount of users, and all of that culminating actually in the blockchain operating system, which provides primitives and core infrastructure for seamless user journey. And with that, that's the intro. David, over to you for OKRs, ecosystem OKRs. Where are we at?
Awesome. Thank you so much. So just a quick reminder of what we are setting out to do in Q2. So the North Star that we have, 1.2 million monthly active accounts, and then the three main themes of OKRs that we talk about. First, Near is the blockchain operating system. Near is a thriving decentralized ecosystem, and near is where Web 2 goes to become Web 3. So let's dive in. So first, so in terms of monthly active accounts, we are still just under 1 million. The past couple of weeks, we've been at around 850,000. So it's been relatively flat now for the past several weeks. But a lot, and we'll get into this, but there's a lot to be excited for what's coming up. A lot of amazing partnerships, a lot of BOS development, a lot of new use cases are being built out, etc. So this will start to go up towards the end of the year. But for now, yeah, it has been flat for the past several weeks. Going to the first OKR, near is the BOS. Yeah, so calling out here on the bottom left, we have the BOS growth. So new users joining the BOS and building on the BOS has been slow over the past few weeks. We are just at around 8,000 accounts in total on Near Social, on near.org. In terms of Twitter, April, I mentioned this last time, was a slower month than we've seen prior. The primary reason for that is we have been shifting our messaging and campaigns to be BOS focused. So we did slow down a lot of efforts there in terms of growing the Twitter following. But that being said, yeah, still at the 1.7 million mark on Twitter. But what's super exciting actually is share of voice. So we've been quite flat for the past several weeks, past several months, between like 3 and 5% share of voice. And the way this is measured is looking at all mentions of Near versus a few competitors such as Solana, Polygon, Avalanche, and Aptos. And we're calculating the total mentions of Near versus that peer set. And so, like I said, we have been around 3% for the last few months. But since consensus and over the past few weeks, we've actually seen this spike up to what it is now at 15%. And so this has persisted and grown over the past 3 weeks or so since consensus. So this is an amazing sign, an amazing testament to all that we're collectively building with the BOS within Near. In terms of Near being a thriving decentralized ecosystem, the main metric we do look at is amount raised by native projects from external capital sources. Q2 is not off to a great start. There's no raises thus far in Q2. So year to date, we're still at just the 4 fundraises year to date at 24 million. But another major success here is the Creatives DAO. So congrats to the Creatives DAO. Their trust instrument is now live, and they become the first independent DAO on Near to be funded by the NDC under NDC V0. So congratulations to that team. And then for the third OKR, Near is where Web 2 goes to become Web 3. And so what I wanted to show here is over the past 2 weeks since we last spoke at the last town hall, just a handful of some of the amazing announcements and partnerships that we have shared publicly. So just to name a few, there's a Wormhole on the top left, launching ZK-enabled cross-chain communication with Ethereum. Round is an NF, or cracking the code of Web3 onboarding. Outlier Ventures is creating an accelerator with Near Horizon. NAC, new era of fan engagement with Web3. And Taco Labs, giving Shopify retailers next-gen customer loyalty programs. And then on the bottom right here is a super exciting partnership that we announced with Airchains and San Kalpataru. It's monitoring for tree planting. So getting back to more of our sustainability efforts, super cool to see this being built out on Near. So congratulations to all of the teams involved and for those that are making this all happen. And with that, going into the BOS, Illia.
Thank you, David. Hey, everyone. Great to be here. So, go to the next slides. Just as a reminder, blockchain operating system is a common layer for browsing and discovering open web experiences. It's compatible with any blockchain available on any surface, and ideally brings not all of the Web3 and open web together across the whole ecosystem. So I get a lot of questions, what problems is blockchain operating system solving? And so we've really been trying to kind of zero in on a set of challenges that Web 2 and Web 3 have, some of which are in common. And so kind of Web3 in general, solving a lot of the Web2 challenges, but kind of traditionally we kept carry on things like censorship, right? So although we have, enabled with Web3 kind of identity and asset ownership, but at the same time, if the application itself is not available to the user due to the apps like the store or to the website itself being down, that has been a kind of challenge, both in Web2 and Web3. The user retention in Web2 has been a kind of extreme challenge. Like social and kind of consumer applications have been spending, tens of millions of dollars at scale to really continue to retain the users. And obviously, we all as individuals know that data ownership and privacy is extremely kind of undermined by traditional Web2 applications due to their architecture, but in turn, this leads to this data leaking everywhere from VPNs to like keyboards to the applications themselves reselling data and having kind of trackers everywhere. So all of that like is Web2 kind of traditional problems that we trying to solve with Web3. We had limitations around kind of still like centralized pieces of stack that were running in Web3 as well. Now there's a very core Web3 challenges that a lot of us been facing, right? One of the biggest one is kind of this fragmentation, and especially around multi-chain, where Web3 is already a small kind of ecosystem with not many users and developers, and we keep facing this challenge where we have like users kind of have to choose one or maybe like two ecosystems they're actually participating, and it's like a pretty hard almost like religious choice that they need to make. And that's a very limiting for the whole Web3 ecosystem to continue growing, right? Like, most of the energy is spent fighting which kind of blockchain to use instead of really what applications are solving problems or what applications are more like what games are most fun to play. And at the same time, there is quite a few applications we've been building, even on near ecosystem, and it's really hard to discover them. It's really hard to kind of have this like initial engagement and gain initial value as you kind of browsing the web and browsing the ecosystem. And finally, in Web3, like the one thing you'll definitely hear from a lot of Web3 developers and entrepreneurs, they have no way to re-engage their user, right? Like they see somebody coming in, signing in as a wallet, doing something and leaving. They have no idea who they are. They don't have no way to engage them. They have no way to like, hey, we have a new something for you. Try it out. There's no way to have this communication. And there's a lot of common problems, right? Onboarding in Web2 and Web3, right? Obviously, Web3 has been having a huge challenge around that. Web2 was kind of login password. Now we have logins and passwords in millions of places. Now we have one password. So it's like all these complicated things. And then you still don't have, like, as you onboard into a new application, you need to kind of set up, configure, connect, link, upload all the stuff to kind of start using it. Distribution is a huge problem for Web2 and Web3, right? I have my new app. How do I get it in front of people? How do I get initial users? In Web2, app stores have been kind of trying to help with that, but now they kind of very overpopulated. Like it's really hard to distinguish things unless they're like top app in the category. Complexity to build, right? Web2 been evolving for past 20 years, and at this point you need to build for multiple mobile platforms, for web, for desktop. Sometimes you need to figure out how to kind of keep all this in sync. In Web3, similar thing, if you're trying to build for multiple chains, that becomes complicated, maintaining that infrastructure on both sides as well, cross-platform support like that. And obviously compliance, especially in Web3, we see like more and more questions around that, and like really how to bring a compliant product to market is a lot of the big question that entrepreneurs have. And so blockchain operating system is really bringing kind of components and pieces that together help solve and elevate these problems, right? And so if you go to the next slide, the kind of reality is, we want to allow kind of use whatever the blockchain is right for whatever use case. Sometimes NFTs are already issued on something. Sometimes user already has an account on another blockchain. How do we create this kind of uniformity for the user and developer? The middleware is really where kind of all of this tooling for re-engagement, like notifications, for discovery, like search and recommendations coming, ability to really simplify onboarding with meta transaction relayers and lots of other tooling that needs to come in, and like data abstractions live to really power this kind of smooth experience that is better than Web 2. And the new layer, the user interfaces layer, decentralized composable front ends, but what we call discovery, is really where kind of ability to have this more isolated applications kind of that can live kind of beyond even the developers that build it. So very similar what smart contracts did to services, right? We're doing with discovery to front ends. And finally, obviously, wallets, fast onboarding, KeyPalm, like all of the tooling to really bring people in and kind of allows them to interface with us. So I only have a few minutes, so we're gonna just kind of quickly go through a few features that are already live and you should try and give us feedback, as well as a few features that are upcoming. So fastest onboarding on the web, so fast auth, really designed to kind of bring users in and give them the first feel of the blockchain operating system. So it uses on your device cryptography that already exists there. It uses insecure enclave, uses a new technology that Apple, Google, and Microsoft are been building into their devices and operating systems called passkey. And so, and then uses MPC for email recovery, and more methods of recovery will be set up. And you obviously can use like add ledger and other ways of backing up your account. So this is really like it, if you try it, it's 5 seconds to get an account. It's really easy and really designed to kind of onboard mass market. So it's live, try it out. Next. So I mentioned discovery. So this is decentralized composable front ends, over 4,400 components, over 134 apps. People continue building it, including people here, and you'll hear from them. Everything is stored on blockchain, kind of on near. The really cool thing is that near blockchain itself is able to kind of really easily provide a like a kernel for this in the operating system analogy. And so it's really important because it allows to really quickly kind of modify, see the history, and kind of add more and more functionality on top. And so all of those things are ready to fork and compose, and kind of from where we see it's like a 3x improvement on development speed, because you can really quickly kind of find applications that are similar to yours, fork it, and start modifying. Slide. Next. So one of the things that is not there yet, the applications themselves, like the front end applications themselves, are still pretty limited. There's no like generic NPM support, and so there is a work on Web Engine v2 that is coming out, and so this is support for NPMs, a wide variety of actions to build richer interfaces. So for people who are like React developers, like use effects and kind of global storage and stuff like this, and obviously TypeScript. Who doesn't like TypeScript? So this is coming. Keep in track. Austin Baggio kind of posted the proposal on his Twitter. Check it out. Next. So the other big piece is, we mentioned like this re-engagement part. So notifications, kind of embedding that, making them mobile web friendly so that you can actually get the push notifications from the mobile web application. Keeping user in control, making sure they have a place where they can pretty much control what notifications they receive or not. And making sure to punish applications that are spamming them. And at the same time, this is the first time in Web3 where applications will be able to connect directly with users and really provide them kind of relevant information. So that's upcoming. Next, use any blockchain. So Near and EVM support is live. So right now you can build obviously front ends that use Near blockchain and front ends that use EVMs, including ZK EVM, ZK Sync, Arbitrum, Optimism, and others. And so this is already live. This is actually like a screenshot that you can try right now. But the things that are upcoming, obviously other blockchain support. And so this depends on viewer or the web engine. But more importantly, we want to kind of create an abstraction that really allows you as a developer to kind of think even less about like which wallet user have and which chain potentially some of the things are coming. So this is to initiate transactions from Near, allowing to map accounts between and kind of bridge kind of assets and information between these accounts that are mapped. And finally, multi-chain aggregation, right? So like, let's say you want to build an application that have both, social feeds from Near and the swap from Ethereum, like really making that easy. It's possible right now, but still requires too much work. So this is all upcoming, kind of really enabling the next wave of multi-chain on blockchain operating system. And this is pretty much it. Like there's a lot more things, obviously, in building, as well as improvements to existing features. And kind of we're going to be publishing more on the roadmap, and also like obviously a lot of folks in community are building kind of different pieces already. And we're going to be like over time, we're going to be using more and more Dev Hub to coordinate and kind of post the roadmaps and what things are in progress. So stay tuned on that. And I hope this kind of gives you a little bit more picture where we're going with kind of in a short to medium term with blockchain operating system. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Illia. Some exciting things. And I want to segue now into, there are already projects building some exciting things on top of blockchain operating system, already building widgets. And I wanted to really get them up here to highlight what they're building to show everybody firsthand what's currently happening on blockchain operating system. So I want to kick things off by bringing Jeff from the Satori team up to talk about Near tasks. Go ahead, Jeff. Thank you for being here. You unmuted, but we can't hear you. All right, no worries, Jeff. Thank you. Just we'll come back to you. Just sort the mic out and try to come back after. We can move on to Pikes Peak and then go back to Near tasks. Thank you very much, David. So I want to bring up Didier from Pikes Peak to kind of provide an overview of what they're doing on blockchain operating system.
Hey, Marcus, how are you?
Good. Thank you for being here. The floor is yours.
Yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Didier. I'm the co-founder of Pikes Peak, which is a solution that provides insights and data tools for builders on the Near protocol. So we've been working closely with NDC, the Near Digital Collective, on something called NDC BOS dashboards. So what is this project about? Well, basically, this project is about giving access to the community to everything happening behind the scenes of NDC. And at the moment, we know that NDC is, taking shape and taking off and relies on three main DAOs, which is the grassroots DAOs. So we have the creatives DAO, we have the marketing DAO, and we have the developer DAO. So the idea of these dashboards, next please, is basically the first thing is, and I always like to say that, but the revolution won't be reported quarterly, which means that basically anyone can access to every data relating to those DAOs and to the governance process, decision-making process of NDC, which means that, well, what's the policy of the DAO? How many members of the DAO? Who has, a certain privilege, for example? How the money is getting spent, etc. So the first thing is you basically have access to all live and historical data. And in addition to that, obviously the live thread of ongoing proposals corresponding to the DAO. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, well, you can also react, engage, comment, propose, and vote on different proposals. And you're going to tell me, well, that's cool, but what's the difference with AstroDAO, for example? Well, the difference is that for the first time, we have this on the decentralized social graph of Near protocol, which is run by the Near social contract. So that means that we leverage this feature, right? Because with that, everyone has a comprehensive view of individuals' relationships and connections, right? So you can actually leverage that if you want to target certain communities on chain. So let's say I have a proposal, but everyone who is reacting on this proposal, comes from the same community. Well, you can basically incentivize people coming from other communities to provide a critical mindset to this proposal, for example, because you have access to this social graph and connections. So yeah, and the next thing is obviously it provides like a better decision accountability and transparency, because you have all these data is living on the blockchain. And obviously, icing on the cake, the dashboards have been built on BOS, which means that even the front end is living on the blockchain, and which makes it resistant to censorship, for example. So yeah, that's only the beginning, and you can see like some dashboards on the next slide. Obviously, it's live on BOS, so anyone can fork, change, and obviously engage with the governance of NDC. And actually, I think MultiDAO has already forked these components. But I'm also so excited about the potential of the social graph combined with DAOs, basically. Because when you think about it, when you think about a simple company, right, you have accounting service, a bank, secretary, and even when you take important decisions, you need to have a board meeting and then have a minute for this board meeting, which is not accessible to anyone. But now everything is basically a feature of the DAO with the social graph. You can even go beyond that and create AI-driven agents to react and to provide like critical stuff on your proposals, right? So, I mean, it's only the beginning. This is only the alpha version, but we're gonna also build like a politician view where you're gonna see all the proposals you voted for and so on with notifications. So this is only the beginning, and please, yeah, test it, fork it, do whatever BOS is allowing you to do, and yeah, I'm very glad to present to you the NDC dashboards.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to come up here, Didier. That's is really insightful. Awesome to see what you're building on blockchain operating system. I was going to ask you to link it, but Marique took care of it. So great to see. I want to go back and see if Jeff fixed his mic, so we can go ahead and see what Tasks has been up to on blockchain operating system.
Any luck now? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you are good to go, Jeff.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you being flexible with me here, Marcus. And thanks for having us. So if you actually go to the next slide, I'm excited to share this with everybody. So near tasks, well, first off, I'm Jeff. I lead product at Satori. And near tasks is a really interesting product that we had the opportunity to demo at Consensus. So if anybody came by the booth, we were at the BOS for Users section, and we were running some video demos of the different experiences of what near tasks actually is. And so if you bubble it down to the core concept, really what near tasks enables is anyone can earn near by completing simple tasks. And so the demos that we ran at Consensus were tasks where we showed how you can take a photo and tweet it and earn near. You can view an image and label it, and if you do it correctly, you earn near. And so the whole concept here is you can have a variety of different tasks, and if you do the task correctly, you earn near. And so if you go to the next slide, I've pulled this directly from our landing page just for consistency here. And so near tasks is a two-sided market. You have taskers and you have businesses. And so the taskers are the people completing the work, and the businesses are the task suppliers. And so on the tasker side, it's really easy to get payouts. So if you complete the task correctly and you've completed a number of tasks that are correct, then you're easily able to get paid. The tasks can have a varying degree of skill sets. And so it can be very simple, like tweeting a photo, all the way to very complex if a business wants maybe somebody to review a piece of code. And then the last point here, which we believe is the most important, is you're actually building this online reputation score. And so over time, you're going to be working a number of tasks. And so let's say that you have answered 100 tasks at 90% accuracy, which means you've only been paid for 90% of the tasks you've completed because they were correct. But that 90% quality score lives with your near account, and that has value to potentially a business that wants to work with high quality taskers. On the business side, we've created a framework for how tasks need to fit within the system. And so that framework allows for extreme flexibility with the type of tasks that can be hosted. We have a very efficient distribution system. So a tasker can pull a task to complete or a task to review. And from a business standpoint, you're paying for correct work. And so, yes, a tasker can purposely answer a task incorrectly, but when it's reviewed and marked as incorrect, the business is paying for that correct answer, which happens on the reviewer. So if you go to the next slide, I have a few screenshots of what this experience looks like. And so this is a task for a social shout out. So this was actually one of the demos we ran at Consensus. And so the task here is a user must take a photo, have the Near logo in the photo, and when they make a tweet, it has to have the associated tags associated. So they do that task, they submit a direct link to this tweet, and then they submit it. And then upon verification by somebody else, they will earn that 0.5 Near. And this is built directly into the BOS. And to Illia's demo earlier with account creation, we are leveraging the fast auth product, and we'll integrate that as soon as we're able. And so we actually see this product as an outlet to help people earn Near and then go do whatever else they would like within the ecosystem. And so if you go to the next slide, we are kicking off a series of testing to make sure that, one, we have basic functionality nailed before we open it up to a broader audience, but also to partner with businesses or brands that would be interested in hosting tasks within the platform. And so to start, we're going to focus on tasks that have a bit of brand awareness and user-generated content, which is that social shout out. Image labeling, which it goes after data verification and validation for AI. And then a third piece is data aggregation and user-generated content, so we can actually generate feedback about the product itself. And so, of course, we'll have future tasks as well. So if you scan the QR code at the top and are interested at all in joining our waitlist and potentially being an early beta tester, go for it. We are super excited to roll this out. The team has been heads down on this, and we have some exciting stuff coming.
Super, super exciting, Jeff. Thank you for coming on. Awesome presentation, both of you. Really appreciate it. And I want to now segue into Flipside. We have GJ from the Flipside team to come and give an overview of what they're building on blockchain operating system.
Hey, thanks, Marcus. Just real quick, mic check. We good?
We are good. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's hit it. Hey, everyone. I'm GJ. I'm privileged to follow both these gentlemen. Big shout out to Pikes Peak. We share a mission of transparency data operating much more quickly than quarters. Let's hit the slides. Put a lot of work into making these extremely complex slides. I hope you appreciate them. High level, Flipside takes the Near blockchain along with a number of the other leading L1s, most EVMs, and makes it available for anyone with a basic level of SQL, which numbers in the millions, to be able to query for free, to access via free API, and to build on top of. And a significant portion of our analyst community are also devs. And so we'll continue to build off of that data. And our goal is to make the data available and to form a community to build around it. We have over 1,200 professional grade analysts, a significant portion of whom are devs. Well, let's get into it. As I said, extremely high level, complex slides. It's really simple. We make the data, we make it accessible to anyone who wants to come and use it for whatever purpose they want. And then we activate analysts to create dashboards around it. You can go and search some of the best Near stuff at flipsidecrypto.xyz if you like. Blockchain data is complicated. It's difficult. We try to make it a little bit less difficult. Let's go next. So what do we do with it? widgets. We've activated our community around widget creation. Most recently on Near Social, we had about 140 people submit widgets. We'll get to look at some of those shortly. But what we found is by having the community do the work, they can collaborate with each other. They can fork other people's work. They can tap into the composability that the BOS enables. They can do collaborative projects. And this is exactly what we've seen. In our community, there's chatter, there's, hey, how did you do this? What did you do? Where's, your refresh cadence at? And a million other questions. And our view is that over time, as this community of knowledge builds up and more people become aware of the BOS, that this is going to have exponential gains. So we're incredibly excited about the community aspect of the BOS and how it enables devs to build on top of each other's work. Next slide. This is just a sampling of the widgets that are available. I'm going to drop one of my favorites in chat, but these are all clickable, and I'll make sure that we get them into the right hands later on. I don't want to do a live demo necessarily, but check out the one that I dropped in chat. And if these slides get shared, then you can check out any of these, but just a really quick sampling of some of what our community did during the week that we ran our widget tournament. We're super excited for continuing to activate people on near blockchain data and also some of the cross-chain stuff that Illia alluded to and the ability that the BOS generates for people to build on near with their own familiar skill sets coming from the ecosystem that they're familiar with, ending some of this controversy and competition that permeates the space. So we've got data for all these other ecosystems, and we're really looking forward to what people build in terms of cross-chain comparisons, cross-chain data, cross-chain widgets. I'm running up on the time limit that Marcus gave. He's the taskmaster. So that's what I got. Come build with us. Come use the data. It's free. If you have more advanced use cases, it's still free. We're really excited for what the API that we provide is going to enable. Our community is excited to keep building on the BOS. So check out some of the widgets. And if you've got questions, hit me up. You can find me on Twitter. Yeah, Alton, it goes both ways. Major shout out. Really appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, DJ, for the great presentation on what you're building and how people can get involved and how it's a community run for the most part. That's absolutely amazing. And I wanted to also bring up Jaswinder from Harmonic Guild, who's building some really great things on top of blockchain operating system, really focused on onboarding and NFTs. So Jaswinder, go ahead. The floor is yours, and appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Marcus. Thanks for having us. Small mic check.
Yep, we hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So Harmonic Guild, could you, in the next slide. So Harmonic Guild is a decentralized autonomous company. We are building an audio-video distribution platform. It consists of onboarding musicians. There's a networking phase where we hold on to and bring on new values to the musicians. And finally, we segue into streaming and distribution, which is the end goal of what we are trying to do. We are very early on BOS. We have been experimenting only for a few weeks. If you could go to the next slide. One of the things that we are trying to do in the initial phases is just onboard a lot of musicians so that they can connect with their communities. One of the use cases we have realized that musicians need very immediately is that how can they convert their offline fans into online fans. And we realized that a simple landing page where musicians have their own profiles and they can keep their fans updated of their latest events, tours, and in fact, any other promotional stuff that they want to do, and they want to get connected, stay connected with their fans and engage with their fans is something that they want in a very simple manner. What we have been experimenting with BOS recently is, if you go to the next slide, is we deployed our own gateway because we wanted a much more simpler interface. We also wanted musicians to have the freedom to host their widgets, their profiles on their own custom domains if they wanted to. So this simple gateway is a fork of the Near Social viewer, which is a bit more simpler viewer. And the homepage that you see here is a fully on-chain widget. It consists of 3 different widgets. In between, there's the minting an NFT, and then there's the NFT viewer, and we are adding more and more stuff here. One of the things that we enabled on the gateway is KeyPom trial accounts, so that a lot of these musicians who would come and try this wouldn't have to go through the process of creating a Web3 wallet and writing a passphrase on a piece of paper and getting lost in the way. So kind of building the building blocks for faster onboarding for musicians as well as their fans. If you go to the next slide. So this is some of the stuff that we have done and we are doing. We hosted our own gateway. You can check it out at gateway.harmonyguild.io. I also think we came up with this philosophy that we think about the BOS and the new open web in terms of the gateway and components. There's a lot of stuff that we think might be inefficient to put on chain, and due to, let's say, the limitations of the current version of the web engine. I'm very happy to hear that the new web engine v2 is coming up, but until it is there, some of the stuff still has to be off chain. So we really kind of think of it as a balance between the gateway and the components. So there's a lot of stuff that you can build into your own gateway, and then and the rest of the stuff can stay in the components, which are fully on chain. So you got to find the right balance where you put the right kind of trustless components on chain, and then some of the stuff that still can't be do there is something that you can put into your gateway and is very specific. In terms of the use case, we're letting musicians create simple landing page profiles where they have all their links. They have information for their events, their tours, if they're selling their latest merch, if they're producing a new video next week, they can share all that information. Musicians can use KeyPom trial accounts to start using the app ASAP. They do not have to go through the current onboarding solutions, which are kind of difficult. Then finally, they can also create airdrops for their communities, for their fans. They can do NFTs, FTs, they can do custom drops, adding these fans to their DAOs, etc. Something that we are very excited to work on is analytics for these musicians about their fans that would be engaging, their demography, and all the stuff that fans are willing to share with the musicians. If you go to the next slide for a bit, we tried to put up this simple diagram which says we got to find the right balance between the gateway and the component. There's still a lot of stuff that we can put in the gateway, which doesn't have to be on chain. And then we need to find the balance between sort of what goes on chain. So this is what our recent experiments with BOS has been. Harmonic Guild is raising a small pre-seed round right now. So please let us know if you're interested. You can reach out to us at harmonicguild.io. We are always also hiring. So let us know if you want to work with us. We would really love the opportunity to talk to you. And yeah, thanks, Marcus, for having us. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you all so much for taking the time to be here. I just wanted to make sure that we really highlight projects that are building some cool things on top of blockchain operating system. And David, unless there's anything further, I think that that ends the agenda for today.
That is it. Thank you, Marcus, and thank you everyone for sharing your projects and joining us today. We'll see you all in 2 weeks.